I think that it is always important to be fair to your clients, be fair to your promoters, because that helps build what we want to work in, and it builds a more trustworthy environment. And that also goes hand in hand with relationships, which are so important, you know.
So I wanted to start off by asking all of you, from the perspective of agent, promoter, and artist, what specific kind of shifts have you noticed in recent years in terms of booking fees, or any specific trends or anything that's really, shifted over the past couple of years?
Since lockdown, right, you've had like a lot of DJs or a lot of people that have picked up DJing within those sort of like 2 years. And I think they've picked it up as a new skill and they're like, okay, I'm a DJ, I've cracked this is what it is. And I think coming out of that, they're expecting so much, you know, they're kind of just like, okay, well, I want to play this show, I want to get this fee, therefore I want to play with these people. And I think also just then doing a boiler room stream and doing certain things where they just automatically think that that is going to translate into really, really high fees. And I think it just can be a bit of like an issue, because people are just immediately expecting like so much from the scene. And there's just like so many people that are like a part of it, you know, and I think it's not always just about like the DJ, and you can't just expect like so much so soon. I mean, some people can blow up really, really quick, you know, they can have a track or a moment and it can go viral, and then something can become like really big, and then it does translate. But then from that moment, you've got to sustain it. But I think, you know, there is this kind of new rise of DJs coming through from that period who are just like picking it up and can be really great and super talented. But it's like, what's the story to back it up? Like, where have you come from? You know, like loads of people can DJ and like, you know, you can pick that skill up. But, you know, it's kind of what is coming from that? Where's the rest of your story? What's the rest of your journey? You know, it can't all just happen like straight away. So yeah, I think some people kind of want it like right now, you know, it doesn't always happen like that.
I think from my side, I can only give my opinion being an agent. So from the side of the fees that I charge for my roster, I do try and pride myself in being really fair. And I think that goes hand in hand with exactly what Moxie was saying. You know, there has been an incredible influx of DJs post the pandemic. I think that it's so important to do your research on the promoters that you're working with. You know, I know it might sound really straightforward and kind of, what's the word? Everybody should know this, but some people don't. But, you know, looking at the capacities, looking at ticket prices, working things out in a really fair way, but also looking at, you know, the type of events that you want to be playing. Like, that is my duty to my clients. That is my job to ensure that I do that. And I think that it is really important to make sure that you're transparent with promoters as well in the needs for your artists as well. You know, I find it incredibly difficult still to this time where I'm still battling with a lot of promoters when booking, say, a big part of my West African or South African roster, whereby we have to jump through hoops, even with visas, and it's a completely different world in a sense of what we're booking in, and we're trying to push a genre through. So it's really case by case basis, but it is, in my opinion, all about being fair, because if you're not, and as an agent, you know, we do have a bad rep, I know that, but I think that it is always important to be fair to your clients, be fair to your promoters, because that helps build what we want to work in, and it builds a more trustworthy environment, and that also goes hand in hand with relationships, which are so important. You know, Judy will vouch for that.
I think from my perspective, we're not really like a guest artist sort of focused night. So for us, dealing with agents and stuff wasn't something that we kind of did until sort of a few years, or like, you know, until the party started really gaining traction. So it was kind of hard to navigate, because I was doing the party for a party, not for a business side of it. And then when you start dealing with, you know, like business and contracts and stuff like that, and you can kind of get stung a little bit by, there's like fees and then pluses and stuff like that. Like, your fee might be X amount, but then by the time you've added everything up, it could be like triple that. And it's kind of, it's quite like a secretive kind of clandestine world, like agents and bookings and stuff. There's not really any kind of, you know, you can't just message someone and say, how much is this going to cost? Because they won't give you an answer. It can get, there's so many factors, yeah, of course. But if you're doing like your spreadsheet, which we didn't even really do for the first couple of years. Like when you're doing that and then a flight ends up costing, say, 600-700 quid, that's kind of screwed your whole budget. So it's, for me, like what we've started doing is trying to do like, we'll have like a travel budget or like all the extras, but make sure that they don't go over a certain amount. Like that's kind of as part of the deal.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and also feeds into, I wanted to ask both of you, Moxie with On Loop and also you, Shay, with Adonis, like in terms of relationships and friendships with artists, like do you feel like that's a big thing with Adonis? Is like, you said for the first few years, it seemed like it was just very like A to B, like conversation between you, artist, done. And do you feel like a lot of that worked because people really cared about the night and what you're actually doing?
The people that wanted to play, they made it happen. So definitely, like it's all about friends. Like everyone who plays, I kind of know and I'm friends with, and yeah, definitely, yeah.
I just wanted to make a note actually about Adonis because, I was there on Saturday, right? And, played for you. But the thing is with your party as well, like people go because it's a sick party and people know the music's going to be great. But the thing is, it's not DJ led. It's not really about the DJs. It's about the whole night. But then also, and you don't even need to announce DJs really. It can just like thrive on its own because the brand is so strong. But the reason the brand is so strong is because you always select really great DJs. And that's why people want to play for you, because the party is great. So I feel like with you, a lot of people are just like, yeah, cool. Like whatever it is, like we'll just play because the party's great. But it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation. Do you know what I mean? Like the party exists because it's great, but it also exists because people trust that the music is going to be sick. I just wanted to make that note because I was thinking about that after Saturday night. I was like, it's such a special thing that you have and it's so good.
To make it down, I haven't made it yet, and yeah, I will very, very soon. And Hannah, actually, like, I guess I can also ask you about that. Like, when you said case by case, which I guess is how a lot of agents try and work. So say there is like a relationship between an artist and a promoter, like how do you sort of manage that in terms of still managing to negotiate but also being fair and like kind of treating it with like a level of just like humanity, I suppose, if you like, and just kind of being able to speak on a level and still kind of save that relationship between artist and promoter as if they're mates already?
I mean, number one, I'm always speaking on a very fair level. I think that if there's an existing relationship between one of my clients and a promoter, then I'll always respect that. I think, it's a tricky one because I'm lucky and in a position where I've built my roster to get to that point where I'm able to sign new acts and negotiate whereby I might even reduce my commission because I want to help build them first, and they might not be in a financial situation to allow somebody to come into their career and take away a 10%, the same way that if I sign an artist, which I have many at the moment, where they've had a relationship with a promoter for years, then I'm not going to come in and bulldoze that and be like, pay them $5,000 and give me my 10%. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just like backwards. That's a really simple answer. The same way that even I have relationships with promoters, like I'm quite biased with Fabric. Like I grew up at Fabric. I worked here for years when I was like 18. So I will always, if they ask me to do anything, or like I'm here now because it's here, like full stop. Like that's something that I'll always do because I wouldn't be in my position if it wasn't for a lot of the relationships that I had from back in the day. And that's not rocket science. I think people should just be respectful, especially because I work in like predominantly underground electronic world. So like, again, that might differ between some of my live acts that are signed to a major that I'm like putting together more of a headline live tour. So again, case by case. Is that a good answer? That'll do.